Would you pay $72 for a 12 pack of soda? This isn't even fake. This is an actual real life price tag in a grocery store in the Northwest Territories. And it's not just pop. Like, a jug of milk is $12. Grapes are $15 a pound there. Like, basic groceries are 2 to 3 times more expensive than anywhere else. People in the North are getting crushed by food insecurity and no one's talking about it.
Something that will never leave my mind is how cheap it is to live over in Asia. Specifically countries like Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Philippines, all of them. So cheap. Like, I am talking $1 for a meal or less for like a good meal. And I mean like good food, in between $1 to $3 a meal. Like, that is crazy to me. Since being home, it's something I've always kept in the back of my head. Like, holy smokes, like, how are we supposed to live in Canada? Especially Nova Scotia. I think I read somewhere the living wage is about $28 an hour, but the minimum wage here is like $15. Like, how does that make sense? If you left your Airbnb in the morning in Thailand with $20 Canadian to your name, you could have 3-4 meals, go on a jet ski, and fill your tank of gas all the way full and still have money left over. It's something I'll never get over. Can't wait to get back. Cheers.
You guys peep this. This is how I know Canada is officially going downhill. $16.97 for deodorant. Yeah, we're finished.
I'm from an indigenous community in the Arctic called Inuvik, Northwest Territories. And a question I get a lot is how expensive is it to live there? The average cost of living in Inuvik is $3,427 for a single person who rents. But the average salary in Inuvik is 39.1% higher than the Canadian average, which is $66,000 a year, while the Canadian average is $47,000 a year. So in Inuvik, these are salary ranges, and this is how much of the population makes this salary. So the highest number on here is $595, which is a salary of over $100K a year. So the breakdown of average living expenses is $1,100 for housing, $600 for transportation, $900 for groceries, $222 for utilities. So if your annual income is $48,000 a year, you're about $200 below the average cost of living for a single person who is renting. Jobs do pay better up here, and there are a lot more opportunities.
Do you think that $100K as a salary is enough to live in Canada?
No. Vancouver for sure, $250 if you want to live comfortably.
Yes, I think so. I think it is. Yeah, that's about what I make, and I can afford to live in Canada. Yeah.
I don't think so, especially Vancouver, no.
Considering rent and prices of everything, $100K can be a little tight.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's tough for $100K for sure.
I think it should be, like, to live a comfortable life and pay your bills.
If $100K isn't enough to like feel comfortable, then who is Canada actually affordable to?
No one. Obviously, in the last couple of years, it's gotten more expensive. Like, you're getting groceries, rent skyrocketed too. I don't think it's very affordable.
Definitely not for us just starting out working.
Probably the older generation, yeah.
Rich people, not the working class or the middle class.
Being, a younger generation, it feels unfortunate because we work so hard, and $100K is a lot of money. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, but it doesn't go very far nowadays.
Well, I think outside of the big cities, there's still a lot of very affordable places to live.
Canada or Vancouver, because 100K will get you quite far in Canada, but not in Vancouver. It's a tough place to live, but it's very pretty.
I went to the Canadian Superstore today and I spent $30. Guess what I got? A pack of tortillas, a 10-pack, 2 little jars of Alfredo sauce, 1 jar of raspberry jam, and a package that was on sale of fettuccine. $30. How are single income homes affording this? Why is there not more outrage? There's no protein at all. $30. Sorry, $27.90 something. Absolute insanity. And then everyone wants to justify the increase in income tax, property tax. Like, it's becoming absolutely unaffordable. Even the haves don't have anymore. Why work extra hard when everything becomes even more unaffordable? Why is there not as much outrage as there should be? I'm perplexed. How are we okay with this?
Do you ever think you'll be able to afford a house in Canada?
No.
Is it a life goal of yours to eventually own a home?
Yes, but not here.
So where do you think you'd ultimately buy?
Probably Mexico, just because that's where I'm from. Obviously here would be a dream, but it'll never happen probably.
So what do you do for work to be able to afford living in Vancouver?
I'm a server.
Do you find that it's manageable living in Vancouver, the expense of it?
No, absolutely not.
No?
There's days that I can't afford to eat
Yeah.
just to make rent. My rent just went up like $100. We just got on notice. Yeah.
So how much are you paying in rent?
Now $1,600.
And what is that for? Is that 1 bed, 1 bath, or is that part of a 2 bed, 2 bath?
It's a part of a 2 bed, so I pay $1,600 and then my roommate pays $1,600.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Do you think Vancouver is worth the expense?
It's only worth it if you are outdoorsy. I think we pay a premium to be like close to the mountains and have the ocean.
So what expense do you find to be the hardest to justify?
I would say rent, and then also just like everything in the city is quite expensive, groceries.
How much is your rent?
Me and my roommate got our rent fixed during COVID. We're at like $1,250 each, 2 bed, 2 bath.
So do you find that $1,250 is a manageable amount?
I work 2 full-time jobs, so not really. Most people in the city have 2 jobs, a side hustle, something going on. Like one income isn't enough.
Do you ever see yourself owning real estate in the future?
A lot of people are just like working to pay rent rather than like the ability to like pay rent and save. I would love to own real estate, but I think that I would probably have to move to Calgary to be able to afford something.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
The cost of living in Canada is sick. There is no more cost of living. There is only cost of surviving. My girlfriend and I met for coffees the other day, and she owes a little bit of money to the government, and she was crying to me, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm a single mother. Like, I can't afford to live here anymore. So she had a call with the CRA, and the CRA ripped her apart. They said, it is unacceptable that you have not maxed out your credit cards to pay us. It is not acceptable that you are paying $1,000 a month in groceries for yourself and your 3 children. You need to cut back. So she said to them, you're telling me that you want me to take the food from my children's mouth to pay your greedy ass, when it's your fault that fucking groceries are astronomically priced right now. We are all in this together. We are all suffering together. The cost of living is killing people. Families are falling apart. People don't get to see their children because they have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. I need to let people know that there's another way. And I'm telling you, you need to start looking into the world of digital marketing, digital products, digital sales. These are all things that you can do at home. Make them at home, build them at home, implement it at home, start marketing it at home, and start making the money at home. Working your 9 to 5 is barely getting you by. You're never going to get ahead. But I'm telling you, you need to do something, because this isn't going to get better. Watch what's going to happen in the housing market this year. Watch the price of groceries. Watch the price of gas. Like, we're not getting relief. This is not going away. So how are you going to get on top of it? What are you going to do to make sure that you and your family can survive? Fuck surviving. What are you going to do so that you and your family can thrive? Because it is possible. All you need to do is take the first step.
What the hell is going on in Canada right now? I am home visiting my parents this weekend for the holidays. I live in the West Village in New York City, the highest cost of living yuppie area ever in the history of the United States. I am never shocked when I get a dinner bill. I'm never shocked when I go on vacation. Nothing phases me. I've traveled all over the world. Tell me why I come home to Newmarket, Ontario, the suburbs of Toronto, and I'm shocked at the cost of living here. How are Canadian people making it work? Everybody involved with the economy right now needs to be fired immediately. We need to contact the UN and get a binding resolution here. Something sinister is going on in Canada, and I'm determined to get to the bottom of it.
Does someone want to explain to me why Canada is so expensive, but it just doesn't even make sense? Like, honestly, it doesn't make sense. So the last few weeks I was back home in Ireland, and I also went to Italy. And well, Ireland is very expensive, but in Italy there was literally the nicest, most gourmet pizza I've ever had in my life. €5. €5 in a restaurant. Here, the food obviously is fucking shit in comparison. You can't even buy a frozen pizza that you put in your oven for $5. What? There's a big groceries attached right to me building, even though it's so expensive, so I sometimes run in to grab a few bits. 2 chicken breast. $15. $15! Like, make it make sense.
I just found out that the city that I live in, that I was born, raised, grew up in, is now the third most expensive city in the entire world. I live in Canada. You hear cities like New York being the most expensive. It's known to be the most expensive. But you know something is wrong when you live in Canada and they say, oh, you have freedom, you have this, you have that. But we're just living to work here. There's no enjoyment. If you just want to have an impromptu fun brunch or go out with your friends once in a while, you have to plan it. You can't just go out anymore. You have to actually plan and budget it into your money, or you will be in debt. We're actually probably all in debt. Probably 99% of us are in debt because the wages that we get in Canada versus what we actually are paying, it doesn't match up. No one can afford to live like we do. I was just talking to this girl from Colombia, and she said she went to LA, and she said their groceries are 1,000 times cheaper than ours. She went into this store called Ali, I think, and she said she was in a state of shock of how cheap your produce is, how cheap your meat is, how cheap it is to actually make a meal at home. You go to a grocery store in Canada and you want to maybe buy 5 apples, you're maybe paying like $6-7, I'm not even joking, for apples that are grown off a tree. I maybe will buy 4 products at a grocery store, 5, and I'm spending over $20 hands down. Even toilet paper that you use to wipe your ass with is being charged for like $10. And I'm like, I don't even want to buy it. Maybe charge $3, $4. No, minimum 10 for toilet paper. Our minimum wage here is $17 an hour. So if you want to go buy some toilet paper, that's more than half your hourly wage. If you want to drive, our gas is $2 a liter. More, it's minimum $2 a liter. It's going up all the time. I live in Vancouver and the rent is absolutely insanity here. It goes up every year. People have to live out in the burbs because they can't afford to live in the city anymore. If you want to be in Vancouver, they're charging for a studio tiny little shack in downtown over $2,000 a month for one person. People are working 3 jobs just to live in this city. It's actually crazy, and they're still struggling to pay their bills. They're just living paycheck to paycheck. They're not even getting to really enjoy their life. And at this point, it's just kind of like, are we having fun? I didn't sign up to work to live the bare minimum of life, just to scrape by. And this only happened when COVID hit. Before that, it was all tolerable, and then COVID hit and everything skyrocketed, and it's actually gone out of control. The homelessness is insane in the city, and I'm like, I feel you, because if I am not careful, I could so easily be homeless. So many of us could so easily be homeless. It's scary. It's a scary reality. Canada is not a great place to live anymore.
I'm poor. Everyone's poor. We're all poor. Everything is expensive. I have started stealing though.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, Galen Weston.
You know, I've heard of friends
Mm-hmm.
either just reading it out. Everything is bananas. 4011, that's the code for it. The grocery store code, and you're typing it in. I've also heard of people grabbing the little paper bags that you put mushrooms in and filling it with fancy cheese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never use a basket.
Oh.
Always use a tote bag. So you fill up the tote bag, you get to the self-checkout, you just empty the tote bag. Oops, did I leave the most expensive item in there and forget to pay for it?
Yeah.
Like, you realize when you're at home, of course.
Right.
But then it's too far to go back.
That's right. How ridiculous is it that cost of living in Canada's got so bad that we're just sitting here on a comedy podcast, just fully just being like, 15 years ago, people be like, you deserve to go to jail. That is so untactful. Now everyone's like, fuck yeah.
I know.
Get him. Yeah.
I know. It's not even about the excitement. Because before, when I would steal, it would just be like, this is exciting. I'm doing something wrong. Now it's like, I actually will die if I don't steal this chicken.
Right.
All right, so this comment is under a video of mine where I said that Canada is becoming more expensive than the States, and it is. And but this comment's not wrong. The States seems needlessly expensive too. Everywhere's getting more expensive, and major American cities like LA and New York and Miami are seemingly out of control. Yes, but in Canada, you get way less options. Like if you need to live in a major city for like arts or entertainment work or whatever it is, you got Toronto and Vancouver. That's really about it. And $3,000 gets you like a good place, like in the door in the city. And I know you can live for $3,000 in LA and Miami. And there's people last video being like, yeah, the apartments in Miami are $3,000 here too. Like we're in the same boat. It's like, you mean that apartment that's on the beach 12 months of the year? My apartment that's beside 4 homeless people having a gangbang in parkas in the winter, and all the power to them, right? Love and support, right? They can do whatever, but I'm just 8:30 in the morning. Okay, that's a lot. And you're making US dollars, which is more valuable than Canadian dollars, and you get way more options where to live. Like if you need to live in a major American city, but you can't afford to be in that city, you can live outside of it and travel within the States for really cheap. Because traveling within the States is cheaper comparatively to Canada. Like in Canada, it's cheaper to fly to Europe than it is to fly within Canada. And you got Toronto and Vancouver, which, you know, Americans underestimate how big Canada is. It's fucking like 3,500 kilometers. What the fuck is a kilometer? Ah! Like fucking, it's fucking big, man. Okay, it's fucking huge. It's like a 5-hour flight. And there's nothing in between there. People are like, you're living in Toronto. That's the first mistake. It's like, they're like, come to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. It's cheap out here. It's like, hey man, not what I'm looking for. Fuck. And in the States, we pay way higher tax in Canada. So in the States, you get to hold on to more of your dollars and have more choice with them. And you can say, well, Canadians, you get free healthcare. It ain't fucking free. And we pay for it with tax, and it fucking sucks ass. I have 2 torn rotator cuffs from when I played football. One of them I got surgery on, and it took 3 years to get the surgery, and it didn't work. It was unsuccessful. The guy, he didn't do it. I woke up, and he was like, sorry, brother, don't know what to tell you. I was like, what? So the other one I just live with for the rest of my life, unless I ever want to choose to get it done privately. And I don't mean to start a private or public healthcare debate. I think health, public or universal, whatever healthcare is a good thing. I think everybody should fucking have it. I'm not fucking smart. I don't read, but I'm just saying it ain't free and it sucks. So you get fucking, and the groceries, man. I mean, Americans might be paying more for groceries now too, but like, you know, you get more options. There's people in the last video being like, hey, I live in Cincinnati and my groceries are getting more expensive too. It's like, you have no fucking clue how bad we're getting porked right now. I apologize to my Muslim and Jewish brothers. I did not mean to mention pork. I'm just saying we're getting fucked. Fuck's sakes, buddy.
I know there's already like thousands of other videos out there about the housing crisis in Canada, but I'm just gonna add to it a little bit more. So I recently moved in with my partner. We are living in a 3-bedroom townhouse in Langley, British Columbia. Langley, British Columbia. I need to specify Langley, not Vancouver. We are an hour at least outside of Vancouver, depending on traffic. And our rent is $3,300 a month. Like no utilities, just $3,300 just for rent. And I was telling this to some of my coworkers today who are a bit older than me, like 10, 15 years older, who either have been living in their place for a while or they own a place. And they were shook. They were shocked. They did not realize that $3,300 a month was the going rate. And actually, we got a good deal. The going rate in our neighborhood of Willoughby is like $3,500 for what we have. I actually have a coworker who lives in Surrey, which is like 25 minutes away, closer to Vancouver. She has like a 3,000 square foot house on like this huge property, and she only pays $2,400 a month for her mortgage because she bought her house like, I don't know, a decade ago. And it is bonkers to me that in Langley, British Columbia, it is $3,300, and that's a good deal, for a 3-bedroom townhouse. And I used to live in Vancouver. I had to move out to Langley because it was cheaper. I couldn't afford Vancouver anymore. And $3,300 is absolutely not affordable. And my partner and I, we make a decent income together. We are a dual income, no kids situation. And to be perfectly honest, we are making within the like $150,000 per year range between the two of us. And don't get me wrong, we can live a decent lifestyle. We are able to pay our bills, we can afford our groceries, we can go out to eat a couple of times a week, but that's it. We can't really do anything else. And I remember growing up thinking if you had a $150,000 household, you were it. You were making the big bucks, you were making so much money, you could live in luxury. But no, $150,000 salary, it literally just affords us to pay our bills and not worry about if we can afford groceries when we get to the cash register.
And it is just so messed up that that is the salary that you need to live a